best I can do right now. So when I decided I was going to come to Atlanta and be part of this memorial, and realized I needed to write something for Peter, for his friends and family, and for me, I walked around for a few days and simply remembered him and our past together. It was fun, it was warm, it was cold, it was lost, damp, dark, bright, hilarious, nutty, painful, and beautiful, just like real life. It was also very full and very empty, and one great adventure. Peter was and is a wonderful person, a caring man and boy who loved and considered people and animals. He had heart, and he could be quite funny. And he also had his demons, I know because I have my own. Many people in this room know something about that and how we are mostly works in progress for our entire lives. It can be an amazing roller coaster, and it has been the great Peter Pan around the world in 80 days, although we did it in 6. Almost famous, high fidelity, voyage to the bottom of the sea, never-ending story of an adventure. It was also hell, and it was also heaven. Peter seemed to visit both often, but for the most part, he had this sweet, impish, cultivated, noble, musical, and artistic life, and he loved that life and the people in that life, many of which are here in this room, and many are not. Some because they are busy. Peter understands that. Some because they were afraid of the potential for pain that we often find in events like this. Peter understands that. Some because they would rather remember him and themselves as he and they were. Peter certainly understands that. Some because they got sidetracked and totally lost all track of time. Peter really understands that. And some because they've gone. Some because they've gone. Some others reached out to me and asked that I deliver a message on their behalf. And that's as much why I wrote this down as anything else, because I was certainly not going to remember all of this. But a couple of days ago, you mentioned Herbie Hancock earlier. Herbie called me and asked me to make sure that I even quoted this part, that he wanted me to tell a little story that in a nutshell summed up the Peter B. that he knew, loved, and loves. Many years ago, I was playing the Montreux Jazz Festival. It was a big night, a Miles Davis tribute, if I recall, as he had recently died, and there was a huge contingent of musicians, actors, artists, and all-around famous people. And of course, the thousands of music fans that make Montreux, Montreux. Anyway, even though I'm an instrumentalist, I have a microphone in place on a boom arm, like those used by piano-playing singers, so that I can talk to the audience between songs and occasionally make a noise or say something funny when playing in the right circumstance. But for the most part, 90% of the time it was just there, unused, untouched. And on this night, for some reason, it kept dropping or sliding down on its pivot onto the keyboard in my way. I was in the middle of a complex, beloved Miles song, and the stage full of noted musicians known for playing with Miles. So stopping or moving the mic up and over my head and out of the way wasn't an option. Fortunately, I had the trusty Peter B. in place, on stage to sort things out just like this on moment's notice. In fact, not having guitars or anything else in Peter's realm, watching that damn mic and perhaps telling a monitor engineer to turn up or turn down the monitors was all Peter really had to worry about. But at this point, the only time during the evening that I needed him, he was nowhere in sight. Then out of the corner of my eye, halfway back in this huge dark theater, I could see the silhouette of a slender, svelte dude in a cowboy hat, moving up and down the aisles like a shark trolling for a meal. Except that it was Peter visiting and chatting with good-looking women. In his own words, when I asked what he was doing out there on the dropping mic after the song ended, he went on to say in front of the audience, "You're playing great, man. It looked like you had everything under control." Peter and I were having this conversation in front of nearly 10,000 people, mostly amused, some confused, some stunned, and some people basically in what was, some people stunned in what is basically a jazz cathedral. You could honestly see some people saying "damn Americans" to one another. I wanted to kill him, but he was too far away. And the craziest thing is he kept wandering around in the audience looking for chicks while we played the next song. Later that night, when we were all at dinner, a dinner that included 6 to 8 of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, Peter said, "What were you so upset about? I was out there working for you. See?" Pointing around the table. And then went on to say, "You know, a jazz pianist doesn't really need a microphone, does he?" Rest in peace, my dear friend. You were a hell of a good guitar player and one hell of a ladies' man. I'm sure you're happiest about the latter. Love you, Peter.